Hi. If you're watching this video right now, it's probably because you're facing a struggle in your marriage. And we get that. In the years that we have been married, we've faced loneliness, bad boundaries, poor communication skills, the inability to solve some conflict.
Deep insecurity, infertility, a miscarriage, anxiety.
Yeah, and through those struggles, we've learned some things that have been really helpful for us, and we just thought we could share several of those with you.
One of the first things we'd like to share with you is the importance of community. When we were first married, we did not invest in other relationships outside of just each other. We didn't have good guy friends, good girlfriends that we hung out with. So we found ourselves on an island, and when our marriage started to struggle, we didn't have anybody that we could turn to.
I found it very difficult to talk to other guys about the way that I felt, and I wanted them to think that things were as good as they thought they were, but they weren't.
In that moment, we started developing some community. It was walls down, it was very authentic. We needed to let people know where we really were, and that community was a huge game changer for our marriage.
Another thing we realized was the value of intentionality. The moment when I realized that what we were doing no longer worked and had never really worked, the moment I realized that was the moment I realized I was going to have to do something different and bring to her thoughtfulness and new skills that I did not have of expressing myself well. Those were hard things, and they took intentionality.
And I began to realize that I had unrealistic expectations. I had been very intentional in our marriage, and yet I wasn't happy.
And it didn't take me long to figure out that it was going to be hard work, and that intentionality and change were going to be something that required more of me than was inside of me.
There was a moment where we knew we were either going to quit and move on, or we were going to stick this out and figure it out, because we weren't happy with the way things had been. So in this season, it was time. It was time to lean into a stronger power that was going to help us figure this out.
The books, the conferences, the expensive counseling, all of it, good and helpful, and still consistently helpful to us. But at the end of the day, it would come down to, and has, God sourcing our love for each other and sustaining our commitment. Marriage was God's idea in the first place. He never intended for any person to do marriage apart from Him. And we realized that we had never engaged that tool in the way that God had available for us.
When I began to understand that Jesus was what was going to fully satisfy me, I quit expecting that out of my marriage, and that's when I really began to enjoy the gift of my marriage.
And He actually has that for every marriage. He has that for you. You could click and connect right now to somebody who will pray for you, who will help you understand and talk to this God who loves you. And we hope that you'll do that. Remember, people are for you. God is for you. You can do this.
Don't give up.